This lesson we're going to be talking about ratios and proportions. And for a warm-up, this is just a quick review of evaluating expressions that have absolute value in them. Okay, we're going to skip the first one because that one's too easy, and let's go right to the second one. Go ahead and try it, and when you are done, you can resume this video. So now that you've tried it, the way you would do it is you'd plug in y. So I'd plug in 7 here for y, plus 2 times negative 9, because that's what z is, minus 7 times negative 9. And then I'm going to start with what's inside the absolute value bars. Negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. Then I have negative 7 times negative 9 out here. That is positive 63. Inside the absolute value bars, negative 28 minus 18 gives me negative 46. And then we know the absolute value is always positive, so I get positive 46 plus 63. Then we just add these two things together and get 109. Hopefully a pretty easy review. So ratios and proportions. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. Okay, go ahead and underline this sentence right here. A ratio is comparison of two numbers by division. Another way you can think of this, it is a fraction. A fraction is a ratio. And this is where we get our definition of rational numbers, because rational numbers are numbers that can be written as a ratio or a fraction. Okay? Different ways you can see these. You can see ratios as said x to y, x colon y. You would still say x to y. Or x over y. This is probably the way you're most familiar with seeing a ratio. Okay? And the thing is, ratios are equivalent if they are equivalent fractions. And the way this works is the same way you've always found equivalent fractions. If I multiply the numerator by something, I have to multiply the denominator by the same thing to keep equivalent fractions. An easier example than the one written here is something like 1/2. An equivalent fraction to 1/2 would be 3/6, and the way we get that is by multiplying each of them by 3. So I know 1/2 equals 3/6 because I can multiply each of these numbers by 3 to get there. When we have two ratios are equal, a proportion is what that's called. And I like to usually think of it, a proportion, as two equal fractions. Because since ratios are just fractions, it's sometimes easier for me to remember that two equal fractions are called a proportion. So what we can do is we can see if these are equivalent ratios. I want to know, is 2/3 equal to 16/24? I want to know, are these equal? The way I can do that, the way I can compare them is see if I can get a common denominator. So to do that, I do 3 times something to try to get to 24. 3 times 8 gives me 24. Whatever I multiply the denominator by, I have to multiply the numerator by. I get 16 over 24. That's what 2/3 is. And notice 16 over 24 does equal 16/24. So yes, these are equivalent ratios.